Adult humor in kids' media isn't new by any stretch of their imagination. It's actually astounding to look back at the shows we grew up with and see just how many jokes went right over our heads at that time.
Bonded child say, I'm busy a lot.
Oh, Timmy, we're taking Dr. Bill's. I'm busy.
Do they use a lot of paper towels, spend too much time alone in their rooms and say, don't bother me?
I'm just going to take these paper towels up to my room alone, so don't bother me.
Oh, no!
Now, I don't know exactly where the line was back in the day, but there was this sort of unspoken understanding or agreement between the parents and the showrunners of the past. Adult things in children's media should only ever be covert and never overt. It was a secret handshake between the animators and the adults that served as a mutual agreement. Parents got a laugh and kids got a cartoon. It made family programming actually for the whole family. But somewhere down the line, something shifted. The media stopped respecting our personal space and decided to get uncomfortably close.
Can I eat chocolates instead of vegetables?
Because, sweet child, chocolate is fun for a treat, but vegetables are the cornerstone of a healthy diet and are very important. And you need to make sure you eat at least 5 a day. Delicious.
If you were talking while you were eating, then where did the...
Hi, Alan.
Gone are the days of the secret handshake enjoyed by two consenting parties, and in its place, we have the media equivalent of an unwanted back rub from a stranger who doesn't know where to stop. It's not a joke anymore, it's a boundary violation. Today, we're exploring the sexualization of kids' media. Why is it that children's media feels like it's rotting from the inside out? And what happens when we stop letting kids just be kids?
The revolution will not be televised.
To understand why modern children's media feels like it's having a midlife crisis, we must first dismantle the myth that animation was born in a nursery. It, in fact, wasn't. Back in the early 1900s, animation was a late-night novelty for adults unwinding after work. These weren't exactly Sunday school stories, if you know what I mean. They were gritty, aggressive, and packed with lewd jokes that would make a modern PTA board have a collective heart attack. Take the original Betty Boop, for instance. Long before she was stuck on a vintage lunchbox, she was a jazz-age icon and a nightclub headliner who was profoundly not for kids. But then the 1934 Hays Code hit Hollywood like a cold bucket of water, and suddenly the fun was over. Betty's dress got a little longer, her nightclub career ended, and she was basically forced into a suburban witness protection program as a domestic housewife. This forced cleanup accidentally birthed the babysitter era. Studios like Disney realized that if you made content pure enough, parents would pay for the tickets and leave their kids in front of the TV for hours on end. For decades, there was a stable hierarchy. Kids got the surface level morals, and the adults got the clever subtext that flew 6 feet over the kid's head. It was the wink that made co-watching bearable. But in 2026, that hierarchy hasn't just been blurred, it's been tossed into a wood chipper. We've moved past the moral guidance of the Disney era and entered a world ruled by Nickelodeon's engagement metrics. The goal isn't to tell a story that respects the line between child and adult. The goal is to trigger a reaction at any cost. We've gone from subtle wordplay to seeing Patrick Star's rear end every 5 seconds. We aren't watching cartoons that grow up with us anymore. We're watching content that's just trying to see how far it can go before someone calls the cops. But we didn't just wake up one morning to find SpongeBob gift wrapped like a deli snack, if you know what I mean. This slow motion train wreck has a patient zero. A specific moment when the industry realized that pushing the envelope wasn't just an artistic choice. It was a massive financial goldmine. If you want to find the exact moment where the secret handshake started getting a little too sweaty, we've got to go to the swamp. Back in 2001, Shrek didn't just win an Oscar. It completely broke the business model for how you sell a movie to a family. It was the gold standard of dual-layered writing, a masterpiece that gave kids a swamp-dwelling ogre and gave parents a reason to actually stay awake in the theater. It proved that edgy was a goldmine. But because Hollywood has the subtlety of a sledgehammer, they walked away with the worst possible takeaway. They thought if a little edge is good, then a whole lot of edge must be a masterpiece. Suddenly, we were hit with the live action Cat in a Hat, a movie that wasn't so much a tribute to Dr. Seuss as it was a neon colored fever dream filled with jokes about garden hose and dirty shovels.
Dirty hoe? I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
Come on, Cat!
Parents were visibly repulsed and critics were genuinely grossed out, but the box office numbers were loud enough to drown out the complaints. It sent a message to every studio executive in town. You can make parents uncomfortable as long as you make them pay. The problem is, we've moved from clever to just creepy. The difference between then and now is all about intent. When Shrek made a joke about Lord Farquaad overcompensated for something, it was a jab at a villain's ego that flew right over a kid's head. But when you see a billboard today for the new SpongeBob movie, where SpongeBob is wearing nothing but socks, a gift wrapped like a pickle, while biting his lip, what's the punchline? It's not a joke for the parents anymore, it's clickbait cinema. Hollywood took the edgy energy of Shrek, stripped away the actual heart, and left us with a billboard of a sponge that looks like it's trying to get you to subscribe to its premium content. It's no longer about making a movie that everyone can enjoy together. It's about making a trailer that's weird enough to stop you from scrolling for 3 seconds. We've entered an era where parental guidance isn't just about the movie anymore. It's about protecting your kids from a marketing department that is clearly having a very expensive mental breakdown in public. If Shrek was the spark that started this fire, then modern marketing is basically dumping jet fuel on the flames and calling it innovation. It's one thing to have a green ogre make a joke about height, but it's a whole different level of what are we doing when you hire a real world celebrity whose entire career is built for the 1 a.m. club crowd to be the face of a pineapple under the sea. We aren't just blurring the lines anymore. We've officially moved into a territory where kid-friendly marketing looks more like the guest list for an after-hours party. To really see how far we've fallen into this clout over content trap, we have to talk about the ice spice of it all. You've got to wonder who was in the boardroom when they decided a rapper famous for her visuals was the perfect mascot for a talking sponge. Nickelodeon isn't stupid. They know exactly where the kids are hanging out these days. They see that Ice Spice is a massive breakout star with a very specific, suggestive style, and they want a slice of that viral pie. But there's a massive catch that the marketing team seems to be ignoring. If a 7-year-old hears the song Big Guy and thinks that it's a bop, their first instinct is to go home and search for her on TikTok. Within 3 seconds, that kid isn't watching a cartoon anymore. They're watching choreography that was strictly meant for the club. It's not just a fun crossover, it's a direct pipeline from Bikini Bottom to a corner of the internet where things get very adult very fast. Then you have the movie premiere, which was basically a masterclass in how to make every parent in the building want to cover their kids' eyes. Showing up to a red carpet event filled with toddlers while wearing a see-through lace dress that looks more like lingerie isn't just a fashion choice. It's a calculated PR moment, designed to trend. They aren't trying to sell a movie to kids at that point. They are selling outrage engagement. To the rest of us, it's a cynical move that uses a kid's premiere as a backdrop for a fashion statement that feels more like baby girl kink than SpongeBob fun. It makes you feel like you're watching a parody film rather than a family movie. Even the song itself feels like it's trying to see how much it can get away with while staying just under the radar. When you have lyrics about bending over and doing a little stretch in a song meant for a character who lives in a pineapple, you have to ask what the creative director was actually thinking. It doesn't match the vibe of the show at all, and it honestly just feels weird. It's like they're trying to make the audience obsessed with butts and exaggerated body humor because they think that's the only way to get a kid to put down their iPad. The whole marketing campaign has shifted from witty for everyone to something that feels like a borderline fetish content. We've gone from subtle jokes that used to fly over our heads to billboards of SpongeBob biting his lip that belongs in a completely different kind of theater. By the time a kid even realizes what they're looking at, they've already been invited into an adult world they aren't remotely equipped to handle yet. It's not about the music or the art. It's about treating the boundary of childhood like it's just another obstacle for the marketing team to bulldoze for the sake of the algorithm. The reason studios are doubling down on proactive but obsessed humor and hiring rappers who belong in a club is that they're terrified of being boring to a generation of kids whose attention is being held hostage by the internet. Nickelodeon isn't just throwing lace and lingerie at the wall to see if it sticks. They are trying to match the same chaotic, overstimulating energy that children are already soaking up from their tablets every single day. We have officially entered the era of brain rot. The Wild West of YouTube Kids, where the filters fail and things get weirdly disturbing. We're talking about a digital landscape where pregnant superheroes, Mickey Mouse in a pool of blood, and Peppa Pig drinking bleach are just a few scrolls away from Cocomelon. These kids are being desensitized by content so loud and bizarre that a standard, innocent cartoon doesn't even register as entertainment anymore. Hollywood feels like they have to up the ante just to stay relevant, turning their marketing into a high-speed chase to see who can be the most provocative before the parent finally looks at the screen. We've entered a digital era where the content being fed to kids is so overstimulating and weirdly disturbing that it makes the old school cartoons look like a silent meditation retreat. These kids are being raised by electronics that are funneling absolute chaos directly into their developing brains. It's not just bad quality animation, it's content that feels like it was designed by an algorithm having a fever dream. When this is what a kid is seeing every time they pick up their tablet, they start becoming desensitized to things that should actually make them uncomfortable. The pipeline from innocent to insane is faster than you think. One experiment showed that even if you wipe an iPad clean and train the algorithm with an hour of nothing but Cocomelon, the autoplay feature will still drag you into the trenches within minutes. To be clear, this isn't entertainment. It's a high-speed chase to see who can be the most jarring, and the collateral damage is the child's ability to appreciate anything that doesn't involve a jump scare or proactive visuals. Because kids are sponges who absorb everything they see, they start to enjoy this crude, exaggerated humor because it's the only thing that registers through the noise. Hollywood is just trying to speak the language that these kids are learning from their iPads. They've traded the subtle jokes of the 90s for proactive moves that are right in your face. We aren't just losing the proverbial wink for the parents. We're losing the child's sense of innocence to a machine that thinks more is always better, no matter how weird it gets. So where does this leave us? We've essentially traded a world where kids get to stay kids and adults get a clever wink for a world where everyone in the room is just uncomfortable. The real cost of this lost childhood isn't just a few weird billboards or a song that makes you want to toss your car radio out the window. It's the fact that we've collectively decided that innocence is a bug in the system rather than a feature. We're fast tracking kids into adult themes, adult aesthetics, and adult anxieties before they even know how to properly tie their shoes. We are raising a generation that is being desensitized by design. When you've seen everything by age 7, nothing is actually special anymore. When the line between a cartoon character and a club promoter is completely gone, the magic of childhood gets replaced by the exhaustion of the internet. We aren't giving these kids stories that build character or help them navigate the world. We're giving them content that builds engagement metrics. We've replaced the mentor-like figures of our childhood with influencers and clickbait icons that actually don't care about the viewers. They just care about the view count. It's a cynical trade-off where the currency is a child's attention span and the price is their sense of wonder. The irony is that family programming used to be a shared experience, a bridge between two very different worlds. It was that secret handshake we've been talking about, a mutual respect for the boundary of the nursery. Now it feels more like a battlefield where the kids are the collateral damage and the parents are just frantically looking for the off switch. We've moved from a polite nod to a lingering unwanted back rub, and honestly, everyone is just tired of the creep factor. We don't need SpongeBob to be edgy, and we don't need a rapper to validate a pineapple under the sea. It wasn't broken, so there was no reason to try and fix it with a see-through dress and a pickle wrap. At the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves what happens when the wink is gone for good. If everything is loud, everything is provocative, and everything is designed to trigger an algorithm, where does the actual story go? We're losing the ability to just let a kid be a kid for as long as possible before the corporate machine decides they're old enough to be sold to. Because once that innocence is incinerated for the sake of a viral PR moment, you can't just buy it back with a Big Guy remix or a memeable billboard. We've traded our children's peace for a moment that'll be forgotten in 3 scrolls. And that's a price that's way too high for any family to pay. But hey, maybe I'm just getting old and the pickle wrap SpongeBob is actually the pinnacle of artistic expression. Either way, I want to hear from you in the comments. What is the weirdest, most boundary violating piece of kids media you've stumbled across lately? Is it the Ice Spice Big Guy remix? Or did you find something even weirder on YouTube Kids that made you genuinely want to throw your router in a microwave? Drop your most disturbing finds below. Let's turn the comment section into a group therapy session for everyone who misses the days when a cartoon was just a cartoon and not a calculated PR stunt. And look, if you made it this far, it means one of 2 things. Either you really enjoyed the deep dive into the corporate rot of our childhoods, or your brain has already been fried by the algorithm and you've forgotten how to find the close button. Either way, you should probably hit the like button. It's a scientifically proven way to tell the YouTube algorithm that you prefer witty social commentary over AI generated slop. If you want more of this unfiltered complaining, more deep dives into the things that make us uncomfortable, and more reasons to never let your kids have an iPad, subscribe to the channel. I promise that this subscription is a strictly consensual agreement between two adult parties. No unwanted back rubs, no handshakes that last 4 seconds too long, just high quality pessimism delivered straight into your sub box. Click the bell too, unless you'd rather just let the brain rot decide what you watch next. Thanks for sticking around. Now go outside and look at a tree or touch grass or something. Regardless, your eyes probably need a break.